$75,000 a year. That is not a bad salary. You are earning more than half the country. You can pay your bills. You can go out on a Friday. You can put food in the fridge without doing math first. By every reasonable standard, you should feel fine. And mostly you do. But do you actually know where every dollar goes? Do you know what is left after rent, food, insurance, debt, and all the small charges you stop noticing? Most people earning this salary have never seen the full picture. So let me show you. I'm Max. I make videos about money for people who were never taught how it works. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, subscribe. Monday morning, your alarm goes off in a 700 square foot one bedroom that costs you $1,620 a month. That is the median for this income bracket. It is yours, no roommates. The kitchen is technically a kitchen. There is a stove, a fridge, and counter space that is exactly large enough to hold a cutting board or a coffee maker. Not both. You chose the coffee maker, obviously. The place is small, but you are not living with strangers, and that feels like a win. On top of rent, utilities run about $260 a month. Electric, water, internet, and gas for the stove you barely use because the coffee maker is sitting where your cutting board should be. Your car is parked outside. Something from 2019, maybe a Civic or a Corolla. You have had it for a while now, and it is almost paid off. Just a couple months left on the loan at about $350 a month. It is reliable. It is not the kind of car anyone compliments, but it is the kind that starts every morning and gets you where you need to go. That is the entire relationship, and honestly, it is a pretty good one. Between the payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance, you are spending about $750 a month. Once that loan is done, it drops to around $400, which is one of the few financial wins quietly heading your way. You stop for gas on the way to work, $48. You do that twice a month, sometimes 3 times, and each time you experience a brief existential crisis at the pump while the number climbs past 30. You have the kind of relationship with gas prices where you know the cheap station on Route 4 is 3 cents less, and you drive 8 minutes out of your way to save $1.70. Groceries. You go on Sunday. You spend about $127 a week. That is roughly $550 a month. You buy the store brand of everything except one thing. Everyone has that one thing. Mine was peanut butter. You buy the good peanut butter and the cheap everything else, and you feel like a king and a fraud simultaneously. Eating out. You can do this 2, maybe 3 times a month at a sit-down place. That is a real luxury that a lot of people do not have, and it is worth acknowledging. And then there are the nights you do not go out, but you do not feel like cooking either. You open the app. The app shows you a $14 burrito. You think $14? That is fine. Then the app adds a service fee, a delivery fee, a small order fee, because apparently $14 is a small order, and a tip that it pre-fills at 25%. Your $14 burrito is now $32. Your phone did not ask if you wanted to spend $32. It assumed you did. You eat the burrito, it is fine. $32 fine. Between restaurants and delivery, that is another $330 a month. All in, groceries plus eating out, $880. Friday night. Your friends text the group chat, dinner and drinks. You say yes because you are a human being who needs to leave the apartment. The restaurant is the kind of place with exposed brick and cocktails that cost $15 and have a single large ice cube in them as if the ice cube is doing something important. The bill comes, $220 for 4 people. You split it evenly. Your share is $55, even though you had a salad and 1 drink while your friend ordered the short rib and 2 old fashions. Your actual meal was maybe $28. You do not say anything because saying something costs more than the $27 you just overpaid. You pay the social tax and you move on. Healthcare, $360 a month. That is your premium plus what you actually end up spending out of pocket averaged across the year. Your plan has a $2,000 deductible, which means insurance does not pay for anything until you have already spent $2,000. You are paying for the privilege of paying more. Debt. The average person in this bracket is paying about $450 a month. $300 goes to student loans. You graduated with $37,000 in federal debt, which is the national average, and your 10-year repayment plan does not care that groceries went up 18% since you signed the promissory note. The other $150 is going toward a credit card balance from when you furnished the apartment. You needed a couch. The couch was $1,200, which felt reasonable until you put it on a card at 22%. You are making payments, real ones, not just the minimum, $150 a month. But here's the part that stings. About $20 of that payment goes to interest every month, so you are paying $150, but only $130 actually chips away at the balance. That couch is slowly getting paid off, but it is costing you more than $1,200 by the time it is done. You are sitting on it right now. It is a nice couch. It is also quietly charging you rent. And then there is the slow bleed. $150 a month in your phone plan and subscriptions. That does not sound like a lot until you actually look at the list. Your phone plan, $80. Netflix, Spotify, the cloud storage you upgraded once to back up your photos and never downgraded. The meditation app you downloaded in January and used for 4 days. A free trial you forgot to cancel that has been charging you $11.99 since March. You open your bank statement one Sunday morning and there are 6 or 7 recurring charges you did not think about once this month. Each one was small enough to ignore when you signed up. Together, they are $150. Nobody wakes up and decides to spend $150 a month on subscriptions. It just accumulates like dust in a corner you never look at. And then there is everything else. The stuff that does not fit neatly into a category but still costs money every month. Renter's insurance, about $15. Haircuts, toiletries. A new pair of shoes when the old ones finally give out. The birthday gift you forgot about until the day before. The parking ticket. The thing that broke that you had to replace. None of it is planned. All of it is real. Averaged out, that is another $240 a month. It does not feel like spending because no single charge is large enough to notice. But it adds up the same way everything else does. So let us add this up. Take home after federal tax, Social Security, Medicare, and your state. Roughly $4,800 a month. Rent, $1,620. Utilities, $260. Transportation, $750. Food, $880. Healthcare, $360. Debt, $450. Phone and subscriptions, $150. Renter's insurance and random recurring charges, $240. That is $4,710. You have $90 left per month. $90 for retirement, savings, emergencies, and everything else that does not fit into a budget category. That is your margin. And that car loan you are almost done with, once that is paid off, you free up $350 a month. That is when the math starts working in your favor. But until then, $90 is what you have to build a future with. $90. Look at what I just walked you through. That is not a reckless lifestyle. There is no luxury apartment, no new car, no weekly sushi habit. You are living in 700 square feet, driving a Corolla, buying store brand, everything except the peanut butter, and your couch is still charging you interest. This is the median. This is what normal looks like at $75,000, and the margin is $90. But here is what I want you to see. That $90 is not a wall. It is a starting point. And you do not need to flip your life upside down to move it. You just need a few small shifts that most people never think about because nobody showed them the math. 5 of them. None of them cost you anything. And together, they turn $90 into over $500. First, housing. It is the biggest number on that list, and it is not close. A third of your take-home is gone before you do anything else. And I am not going to tell you to move somewhere cheaper, like that is a simple decision. It is not. But it is worth knowing that the difference between living alone and splitting a place with one other person can be $400 to $600 a month. That is not a lifestyle downgrade. That is the single largest financial lever most people at this income have, and almost nobody pulls it because it feels like going backwards. It is not. A roommate for 1 year while you build savings is not a failure. It is a strategy. And if you are about to sign a lease, know this. The apartment you can afford and the apartment you get approved for are 2 very different numbers. Landlords will approve you for rent that leaves you with nothing at the end of the month. That is not their problem. It is yours. A good rule is 30% of your take-home, not your gross. At $75,000, that is about $1,440, not the $1,620 in this example. That $180 difference is small on paper. Over a year, it is over $2,000. Second, transportation. It is the second biggest controllable expense and the one people overshoot the most. The difference between a $350 a month payment on a used car you keep for years and a $550 payment on a new one you leased because the dealership said you qualified is $200 a month. $2,400 a year. And qualified does not mean comfortable. The bank will approve you for a payment that makes your budget impossible. That is their business model, not your budget plan. If you already have a car and the loan is almost done, that is easy money back in your pocket. In the example I just walked you through, paying off the loan turns $90 into $440 without changing a single habit, but even if your loan is newer, the principle is the same. Buy the boring car. Keep it forever. The money you save every month is worth more than whatever anyone thinks about what you drive. I know. 2 tips in and I already sound like your uncle at Thanksgiving. But stay with me because the next 3 are easier, and one of them takes about 4 minutes. Third, audit your recurring charges. Not once. Every 3 months. Because subscriptions do not announce themselves. They just show up on your statement and hope you do not notice. Most people at this income are paying for at least 2 or 3 things they forgot they signed up for. A free trial that is not free anymore, a cloud storage upgrade from 2 years ago, an app you used for a week. Each one is small. Together, they are $30 to $40 a month that you are lighting on fire. You do not have to cancel everything. Just cancel the things you would not buy again today if someone put them in front of you. The stuff you actually use, keep it. But stop subsidizing the things you forgot existed. Fourth, watch the convenience tax. Every time you pay someone to do something you could easily do yourself, there is a markup. Delivery apps are the obvious one. That $14 burrito I mentioned earlier, it was $32 delivered. But it is not just food. Convenience fees show up in how you buy groceries, how you do laundry, how you get to work. None of these are huge on their own. But at this income level, 2 or 3 convenience charges a week add up to 100 or more a month. The fix is not to never use a convenience. It is to notice when you are paying double for something that takes 10 minutes to do yourself. Fifth, be intentional about social spending. Going out matters. It is not a luxury to cut. But where you go, how you split it, and how often you say yes to the expensive version versus the version that is just as fun for half the price, that is where the money hides. You do not have to say anything awkward at dinner. You do not have to be the person who Venmos everyone for their exact share. But you can be the one who suggests the place sometimes. The spot where the vibe is just as good, but the bill does not make you do math in the bathroom. You are not being cheap. You are being the person who actually knows what things cost and chooses accordingly. None of that is a big life change. None of it requires you to stop being you. And together, these kinds of shifts can free up $500 to $800 a month of real breathing room. That is a different life. So, let us say you actually do this. You cancel the meditation app, the cloud storage upgrade, and the free trial that has been charging you since March. That is about $35 a month. Subscriptions go from $150 to $115. You pick up food instead of paying the delivery fees, and you cook a couple more nights a week. Not every night, just enough. Your food spending drops from $880 to around $800, and then the car loan finishes. You were almost there anyway. Transportation drops from $750 to $400. So let us run the numbers again. Rent, $1,620. Utilities, $260. Transportation, $400. Food, $800. Healthcare, $360. Debt, $450. Phone and subscriptions, $115. MISC, $240. That is $42.45. You were bringing home $4,800. You now have $555 left per month. That is not $90 anymore. Same apartment, same job, same Friday nights. You just stopped paying for things you were not using, picked up your own food, and waited for a loan to finish. You are not living a different life. You are living the same life with fewer leaks. That $555 is not spending money. It is the gap between getting by and actually building something. For the first time, you have enough margin to put money somewhere it grows. Not a lot, but consistently. And consistency is the only thing that matters at this stage. Your life does not look different from the outside. You still go out on Fridays. You still buy the good peanut butter. You still have the small apartment and the car nobody notices. But you stop checking your bank account in the bathroom before you order. You know what the numbers say, and they do not surprise you. You are not rich. But you are building something. And it started with $90 and a few decisions that cost you almost nothing. Here's the part nobody talks about. What it actually feels like to build wealth at $75,000. It does not feel good, not at first. Your checking account looks thinner because money is going somewhere else now. Your friends are doing things you are quietly opting out of. Not every time, but enough that you notice. And the money you are setting aside does not feel like it is doing anything. It feels like putting coins in a jar while everyone else is living. But here is what the math does that your feelings cannot. A few $100s a month invested consistently over 25 years turns into 6 figures. You did not feel any of that growth in real time. You just showed up every month and did not touch it. That is what building wealth at this salary looks like. It is boring. It is slow. It is invisible. And it works. $75,000. It is a good salary. I need to say that clearly because this video showed you a lot of tight math, and I do not want you walking away thinking this number is a failure. It is not. You can live on this. You can build on this. The margin is thin, but it exists, and the people who use it intentionally end up in a completely different place than the people who let it evaporate. It does not take a massive overhaul. It takes a few small moves and the patience to let them compound. What is the one small change you could make this month that would move the needle? Cancel something you forgot you were paying for. Pick up the burrito instead of paying the app. Put $20 somewhere it can grow. Whatever it is, drop it in the comments and make it real. If this was useful, a like genuinely helps other people find it. And if you want more of this, subscribe. Same thing every week. Real math, real life, no hype. All right, fun fact. The word budget comes from an old French word for a small leather bag you kept your coins in. We went from leather bags to apps that charge you a service fee to look at your own money. Progress. See you next time.